Saddle up your horses.
Pitter patter. Let's get at her. It is another episode of the Mainly Broncos podcast. Where would we be if there was ever a world that had no technical difficulties? That would imply that in the world we are perfect, and by no stretch of the imagination are we perfect. And as evidenced in the green room, it's not been perfect. Jordan hopefully could be able to join us here in just a little bit. Was experiencing internet issues, for the first time in gosh, I don't know how long. He said he's been having he had some fiber optic, connections and stuff. So hopefully we can get him in here. Brandon will be joining here in just a little bit. But as first, you can see that we have the esteemed member of the Broncos podcast community. And more importantly, he's officially confirming now that he is no longer a bot. He wasn't a hacked account. He's officially, confirming that he is no longer a bot. Mike Carmelini, what's up, man?
What's up? Thanks for having me on, Cam. It's great to see your beautiful face. My Twitter account was hacked by some jackass, and it's gone forever. But they did not get my YouTube channel, which would have shaken me to the core. So, but thanks for having me on, man. It's good to see you. Hope we get Brandon and Jordan on soon.
Yeah, hopefully it works. Might actually end up having to, as I was explaining to you before, might have to go the back way with sending links and stuff like that. And but there was a lot to kind of delve into, of what's kind of happened, if you will, in the last less than 24 hours, less than even 12 hours, because the Denver Broncos finally dropped news. And I should say significant news. The Denver Broncos have agreed to a 5-year contract extension with head coach Sean Payton. It is now the second 5-year contract that would put him with the Denver Broncos. And actually it is, I'm assuming it's not a new deal. I'm assuming it's attached to the 2 years that is attached to his first 5-year contract. Obviously, we haven't seen the details of it to know. But Mike and I were going and talking about it in the green room, and it was about $18 million a year, his first contract. So we don't necessarily know what the particulars are. We have to assume that it's going to be, close to, if not just a tad bit more, than what it was. But I will say, there's a lot to unpack with it, and it's all good. There's a lot to unpack with it, and it is all good. With the Sean Payton head coach contract extension, Mike.
Yeah, it's the 2 years. The 2 years are gone. His last 2 years, so the 5 years will take over for that, and it keeps him here with the Broncos till 2030. Great move. He and Payton, George Payton signed his extension in May. Now we've got our coach locked up. And honestly, I said this earlier on the show. There's no way Sean Payton does this if he isn't excited about Bo Nix. He sees a future. He sees Super Bowls. He's not going to risk his legacy and sign another 5 years or sign on for 5 years if he doesn't really believe that this Broncos team has got a Super Bowl in him. So I'm really pumped up about it. I think it's a great move by the Penner Group, keeping George and Sean together. So couldn't be happier, and a smart move too. And I think so. I think we've got Andy Reid's at $20 million a year. John Harbaugh's at $20 million up in New York, and I'm sure we'll see. Sean's probably going to have that average at least 20. So he'll either be tied for the top, or maybe even the Penners will kick in a little more Walmart money and make him the highest paid coach. We don't know. Can't wait for those details to come out, though.
Yeah, and at least from how I'm viewing it, it's a lot of positives because you mentioned how it's also a Bo Nix related question. And I think that not question, but answer in a sense, like, you drafted your quarterback. We knew he was really confident in drafting Bo Nix. And then, well, when you hit the quarterback and you get it right, you're also well rewarded for not just the quarterback being right, but also yourself. And when that's right, you get rewarded with a new deal. And the other layer to this that is something that the finger warriors on social media will always tell you is that the relationship between George Payton and Sean Payton is not the best. Well, in this offseason, the Denver Broncos have locked up George Payton and Sean Payton in the same offseason, and they are now tied through 2030.
Mhm.
Like they're through 2030. So that actually means that if you're reading between the lines, not that it shouldn't be any surprise. That means the working relationship of Sean Payton and George Payton and the Denver Broncos ownership group of Greg Penner and Condoleezza Rice and everybody involved. It is a very good working relationship.
You know what, Cam? I didn't see it coming. When Sean came in, I thought George was, the clock was ticking on George. I thought, maybe 1 year and then Sean would, have him gone, get one of, his guys. But yeah, they surprised me. They end up hitting it off and they seem to work really well together. Looks like a great marriage. I think Sean, although George is certainly really involved in the, player personnel, the scouting, I don't know that there's much doubt that Sean's the one that, buys the groceries because he's the one cooking. But I think he and George just have a really good relationship. And George does a great job with the, the cap and all that, the Russell Wilson fiasco. It was him that, kind of navigated our way out of that. So I think it's a good marriage. I think that George Payton he can't possibly have an ego to work with somebody like Sean Payton who has enough for everybody. But I mean, Broncos country should be celebrating this. If those of us who have been watching this team long enough to watch us go through 16 quarterbacks and God knows how many coaches over the last decade or so, this is it's really nice to know that we've got our quarterback, our coach, our GM, our ownership group. Everything is right there in front of us. So it's a great day to be a Broncos fan.
I've always kind of said this when it came to when we talk about the relationship of George Payton and we talk about the relationship of Sean Payton. People, I think, need to be talking about it more when they say, like, when you understand the history of Sean Payton, this is not the first, this is not the first time that Sean Payton has had to deal with incumbent ownership, or not this ownership that was already there, and also a general manager that was already in place. This is not the first time that actually he has dealt with this, right? Like he dealt with that in New Orleans. And so you could say it's a very uncomfortable situation, yeah, for sure, because you want to make sure you're around people that you would want to work with, if you will. But also, it's one where you also kind of have familiarity. You're comfortable with it because you've had so much success with it in the past, right? And so because of that, we were really fortunate to see this play out where you had the relationship with Mickey Loomis. You had the relationship with Mickey Loomis. They built that friendship. They built that camaraderie with one another. And there were a lot of cap hell situations, but that was more of an ownership situation, not a Sean Payton situation. And so now you have the best of both worlds of how to manage everything of the cap, the salary cap, obviously the rosters, everything. And so it really ended up being kind of the perfect marriage of what he, to a certain degree, had built in New Orleans with Mickey Loomis and everything. And now with the Broncos of just, you know what? This is the best of both worlds.
Yeah. I'm Cam. Nobody can be disappointed in this, of course. The one thing about a successful team is when the ownership and, that sort of triangle, the owner, the coach, the GM, everybody's moving in the same direction. They have one vision. And I think we've seen that. Also, back to what you said, the ownership. If we had different owners, would this have happened? I don't know. Like, if we had anybody but Sean Payton, would this have happened? Like, it's like a perfect storm. It just seems to work. And, honestly, I saw a lot of people, on X, Twitter, talking about getting rid of George Payton. We should get rid of George Payton.
Right.
And, it's a little surprising when I see stuff like that because, we're at some point in time, like let it go, man. Like, forget about Russell Wilson, forget about all that. Like, I don't know, we still don't know exactly who was responsible for every bit of that. And at the time I thought the Russell Wilson, signing was a good one. I didn't particularly like giving him all that money before he walked on the field, but I think that was part of the deal. But you know what? Let it go. It's all past us. Everything's working. And really good to see. And you can tell that Sean's energized. That's certainly helped, of course, with Davis Webb now taking over the offense. Sean gets to walk around and, be the general. So all good. And hopefully Jordan's just going to go with his phone at this point now.
It appears. Jordan, can you hear us?
Yeah, he can't even hear us now.
Yeah. This is
He's the poor guy.
Yeah. Jordan, who is Pride of Broncos ab, will tell you that one of his cohorts would always have Wi-Fi issues, and that would be the case. Jordan, who is Pride of Broncos. No, that would be a no. Yeah. I will say when you look at, is it as far as some of the other stuff, and you look at the other stuff that's basically built up with Sean, I think has been the other part of it too, that I think is obviously one that we kind of talked about in the green room, which is it's also the personalities of him, Well,
you couldn't have two of them. I mean, you just couldn't. So there's only room for one Sean Payton in that building. And George is nothing like Sean Payton. So, if you brought in, I can't even think of another GM that, would be comparable, but this is like, you wouldn't want to marry somebody who's as bullheaded as you, or if you're, or whatever, like someone has to be sort of the dominating force in a relationship, at least when it comes to some things. They've got all that. And now we get the news that Bo's looking good. Sean's saying, shouldn't notice any difference with his escapability and his avoiding the sacks. So, today was just an all around, another good news day for us. And of course the no injury thing just keeps rolling for us too. So knock on wood that keeps up. But, I think for me, Sean Payton has more than earned our trust. Coming in after the Hackett debacle and, in 3 years turned this, this team into, one broken ankle away from the Super Bowl. So, good on him. Good
85 million. Just all you just need to know, 85 million in dead cap. And I think that when you look at it too, there's so much more that's like a positive with it. You know what I mean? Like, and as we touched on it, like there really isn't anything that's like a negative, that's like a negative, if you will, with the overall, like, I don't know, like the contract that they handed out. You know what I mean? Like there really isn't going to be something that's negative. I mean, people can spin it, however it is that they want. Like, oh, they're locked down to, Sean Payton for 5 more years, or, or something like that, but like they can spin it, but it's just, you're not handing out a contract extension for someone that you don't want to have there. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
and so I think that when you look at it, there's just so much that is so positive, and it's how things have built with that roster, how things have built with that general manager, how things have built with, where things have been. And also too, it's like, for as much as we talk about it as a Sean Payton thing too, we did briefly touch on George Payton. It goes to show you where things are, just, as we kind of can, are having the conversation. It's like, it's all, um, it's all associated with the fact that, you know, the ownership group got it right. Like the ownership group got it right, because when you think back to that head coaching cycle, and it's interesting, me and Jordan talked about this. I'm sure you caught that episode, Mike, but it was the what if episode, where we talked about, like, well, what is the what if, right? What if they didn't hire Sean Payton? What if because in that head coaching cycle was, of all things, Jim Harbaugh, who, for all intents and purposes, record-wise, has done a pretty decent job there with the Chargers. DeMeco Ryans has really turned things around with the Houston Texans. And yeah, the AFC South isn't necessarily the best division. They're still one of the two teams, if not three teams, that are competing year in and year out right now, for that division. So it's one of those things, like, I don't know if the Broncos would have gone, anything wrong in that head coaching cycle, but it goes to show you they did get it right? Like they did get it right in the case with that head coaching cycle.
Well, the record speaks for itself, and them re-signing him speaks for itself. So yeah, they got it right. And another a twist on this, over the last few months, there's been a question about why Sean Payton, or how Sean Payton gave up play calling duties. Was he forced to do it? Was he pressured to do it? And, of course, I've said all along, Sean Payton doesn't do anything he doesn't want to do. But this also cements that. There is no way that Sean Payton signs a 5-year contract to come back if he had been forced to give up play calling or pressured. So D-Mac, talking to you. Troy, I'm talking to you. Yeah. Listen up. I've been proven outright. You guys were wrong. Somebody says I look like Bill Simmons. So I feel like I'm being bullied here. I'm just saying. And come on. What's up, Grandizer? Haven't seen you in a minute. Good to see you. Who called me Bill Simmons? Josh Sherman. Of course it was Sherman. Oh my God. I haven't seen that name in a while. I lost my Twitter account. I think I used to follow you on Twitter. We Wi-Fi work. Oh my God. Man, that is one thing that will kill you in this business. This does take a lot of data to do this. So you can't just,
for anybody,
with the minimum.
You're talking about Josh Sherman. For anybody that does not know, Josh does our short form for mainly Broncos. He does a really good job with our mainly content. But yeah, no, it's just it's something that I think is, I think probably like the biggest surprise as we kind of are talking about it is just, it's one where it's like, it's more so like that it happened now. You know what I mean? Which kind of begs the question, what's next? I saw in the comments where I believe they brought up Bo, they brought up Bo, to make sure that Bo gets happy and he gets the extended next year. He's eligible, right? Like he's eligible for his contract extension, after this year. I would imagine, because you have the 5th-year option that's kind of lumped into this, that the Broncos don't want to do it now per se. Because they want to lump that 5th-year option into it and kind of like build that contract off that 5th-year option.
They'll do it next year.
But that said, as we're talking about the Sean Payton extension, we weren't expecting a Sean Payton extension now, So, let alone obviously a George Payton extension, but it was just, we expected it once the beginning of the year and things were kind of creeping in that things were going to happen. But it was just one where, maybe at some point you didn't know whether it was going to happen. All of a sudden it came about where, yeah, this is definitely going to be happening.
Last year I said he's going to play 8 more years. I was going to play till he was 70. So we'll see. As far as Bo Nix goes and G-Man, I give him a little crap in the chat. He's a buddy, but he thinks we should, get Bo done now, but yeah, that's not going to happen.
They
but
can't.
But yeah, I mean, he's not even eligible. But I don't think they'll do a 5th-year option. They'll get the contract done next year, after. And I think that'll be smart, like, because they'll get ahead of it. The earlier you do them, the less expensive they are. Bo could bet on himself and wait, but I don't see that happening. But yeah, as far as the coach goes, I like the way that they've got both George and Sean tied up for the same amount of time. So that's one thing. And then 2, there's no salary cap implications or anything like that with coaches. They can pay them whatever they want when they want. They can, it doesn't hurt them to do it. So, yeah, why not? Why not get it done? And, we've got, as far as players go, there was the story by Chris Thomason about Jaquan McMillan. Yes. And then there was pushback from the team. So Patrick Smythe got, put the kibosh on that.
Where they're talking but not talking.
They're not talking, yeah. So, that's the kind of stuff that's really interesting. This one is probably, other than what, like signing Bo Nix next year, this is about as big of a signing as it gets, locking in your head coach and your GM.
Yeah.
Keeping the stability.
Now,
so
I think we're about 20 minutes in, and obviously I'm kind of scrambling 2 different things with Jordan and stuff with Wi-Fi. But the one thing we probably could have touched on, I would say, like right off the bat, as far as you're kind of, peeling it back, if you will, Mike, and that's the obvious that I think a lot of people have been attributing. And I will say I fell into this trap, at least thinking it, which was they're going to be handing Davis Webb the play calling. Why is Davis Webb staying? He had a lot of gigs. He had 10 jobs. Like, he had 10 jobs that he was going to. Like, 10 legitimate head coaching jobs, and then probably, 3-4 offensive coordinator jobs. So that's probably close to, the same amount of teams, but just as far as jobs, that's roughly 14 jobs. And he didn't take either one of them. He stayed. And, he went and stayed here for some of those opportunities that were with Lamar Jackson to be his offensive coordinator, to be with Josh Allen to be his offensive coordinator. Granted, that was going to be with Joe Brady as head coach. And so may not have been as lenient, if you will, on some of those play calling. But it was just, I think the other big massive one here, and I don't think it's a negative at all, but it's so we basically could kind of put to bed the idea of Davis Webb, being the long-term answer, at least as of right now. I think we also have to remember he's 31 years old. There's a rather long runway for things to kind of happen still for him to be a head coach. So at least maybe that option is still on the table. But I would say it kind of took a significant hit today too with the.
He had a couple of head coaching, he was second in a couple of head coaching gigs. As far as the OC goes, he wasn't taking OC anywhere but here. Mm-hmm. So he and it wasn't even a threat of play calling. I mean, that was early in the conversation, so he knew that was on the table. And so, Davis Webb himself said it was basically, after the loss in the AFC Championship game, there was an initial discussion about him, taking OC, taking play calling, and it was kind of already decided on, at least in his mind, that that's what he was going to do. But he had some interviews lined up, but the head coaching interviews, you have to follow those up. But nobody, from what I understand and what I heard from him, it doesn't sound like there was another team that was going to take him as OC from us, and that he would choose over us. I'm sure a lot of teams wanted him, like you said. There were a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But he wanted to be here, and he wanted to work with Sean in this capacity. Now, to your first point, I had this conversation when he first was promoted to OC. Everybody was saying, "Oh, well, this is going to be Sean's. He's going to groom Davis to be the next head coach." And I said, "Well, first of all, Sean's not going to groom anybody to be his replacement because he's playing for another 8 years, and that's the last thing on his mind is worrying about who his replacement's going to be. That's for ownership to worry about. Sean could care less about that. He's trying to win Super Bowls." The other thing is that he's going to coach another 8 years. There's no way Davis Webb lasts 8 years as our offensive coordinator. So my hot take earlier today, and I'm going to throw this by you and see what you think.
Mm-hmm.
Davis Webb is going to get a coaching job in this league. He's going to go be a head coach. Even if he just does pretty good this year, he's so well-liked and well-spoken and so knowledgeable. Someone's going to hire him. My hot take is he probably goes to one of these loser teams, takes the head coaching job, lasts about 4 years, gets fired, comes back to the Broncos, then he takes over as the heir apparent to the head coach. So I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up on it. It's the Kubiak move. It's the Mike Shanahan move. It's like you got to go somewhere else and fail and then come back, and then you'll be second-time head coach.
Now,
and you'll come back home.
For that to play out, that for that to play out, that would be the ultimate prediction right there.
I'm telling you, book it. Somebody clip it. It's happening.
Well, okay, so here's why I will say that that's not unreasonable, because it would be the offensive staff version of Dennis Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's people, and maybe you use that comparison, but it was just, if you look at that, what happened with Dennis Allen, he was a red hot defensive coordinator, I believe, with the Saints, and then the Broncos hired him, if I'm not mistaken, from there. Like the Broncos hired him, when he was with the Saints, and then he became the head coach for at least a brief period. And
was it the Raiders too?
And then he was with the Raiders. Ironically enough, the Raiders were one of the short list of teams that wanted Davis Webb. But anyway, so, and then it kind of just all snowballs on Dennis, if you will. And then what happens? He goes and he joins up with Sean for 5 to 10 more years, if you will. And he was the defensive coordinator for him, and then obviously now he's the defensive coordinator for someone within his tree.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson down there in Chicago. And it seems to be doing rather well. So it sounds crazy because you don't really see it all that much, but relative to Sean Payton, there's at least a world where I think it's actually more plausible when you break it down like that.
When when the young coach goes away to become a head coach somewhere, they do often come home when they don't make it. If their old organization or coaching staff is still there, they will bring them back, and Sean's going to be here. So, we'll see. And it could be, he could last. Now he could go somewhere and do great. It really depends on where he goes. Someone said earlier on my show that this kind of discussion kind of came up, and if he goes he'll take a job that has a first round quarterback pick, because that'll be like, okay, starting from scratch, and also gives you a lot of leeway, gives you time to work with the new quarterback and build things up. Right. He said he's not going to go to like Arizona, or he's not going to go to the Jets or something like that, but there's some team out there that might work for him, and I think he'll be picky. He seems, he does seem very happy here. He is only 31 years old or whatever he is, and he's got time to learn and do well here. He doesn't have to take the first job that's offered to him because he's going to have multiple offers. So hopefully he's smart about it. Hopefully he does well, so well that this is a conversation. We're hoisting a Lombardi, and then we are having this conversation. At that point, I won't care. If we win a Super Bowl, I don't care if they take him. If we make the playoffs and things look a lot better, but we don't, hit the mother load and he leaves, then I'll be upset. But it's the NFL and that's what happens. But yeah, I agree with you. Sounds like a long shot, but it's my hot take, and it's my hot take. I'm sticking with it. Davis Webb will be back either way.
The other thing I think that is going to be a little bit interesting, if you will, is regarding Davis Webb, because I think and this is something I've mentioned before, is like he's definitely going to end up being head coaching material, right? Like he's definitely going to be head coaching material. But my question is, and granted, we don't know this answer. I've been mentioning this numerous times when it comes to Davis Webb and the head coaching cycle for 2027. We don't know the head coaching cycle per se,
right?
But venturing with what happened this last time with, John Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin not having jobs, two primo blue chip NFL teams actually having a head coach opening, I think is really rare. And so I think what I'm trying to say is like the opportunities for teams to be available for Davis are, even still with the 2027 class, I don't think is going to be as attractive, I think, as people think. You know what I mean? So like the only one, and probably the biggest one off the top of my head, is obviously the New York Jets. And yeah, there's Darren Moogie, there's even the Sean Payton kind of connection with Aaron Glenn, but I'm not so sure I want to be going to the Jets situation, knowing kind of with everything that is all set up over there.
Yeah, it's a trash organization.
Exactly. And then who knows? Like there's very different ways that you can build a team. Obviously, Sean has clearly shown that with dead cap, but it's just, you want to make sure you are wanting to go to an attractive organization. For even if it was a team that was like in the top 5 or whatever, you still want to make sure you're going to an attractive, landing spot. And I don't know if there's going to be a team in 2027, for as good as that QB class is in the draft. I don't know if there's going to be a team out there that's going to be like, well, Davis, here's the reins. And granted, obviously, what changes that, obviously, you can pick your GM, you can do stuff like that and stuff like that. But I don't know. It falls on the attractiveness of the job.
Well, you said you did. Hey, Brandon, you made the point about, like, you did the what if show.
Yeah.
So your what if show. So let's imagine that this was the off season that Davis Webb went. Okay.
Yeah.
So these were the jobs that were open, that were filled this year. You can assume that maybe half of them are worth taking and half of them aren't. But you had Baltimore, of course, got Jesse Minter. That's a great opening. Buffalo, fantastic opening. And then maybe you could go Giants. But so you got Atlanta, the Giants, Miami, Tennessee's iffy, but he might have gone for that. Is that Cam Ward?
Yeah.
In Tennessee.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's doable. But I mean, Vegas, the Raiders, he was a finalist there. You got Cleveland, which is a S show. The Cardinals, nobody wants that job. Pittsburgh with a 40-year-old quarterback.
Still
story,
blue chip team for sure.
Blue chip team though, and then Miami, of course. So I mean, maybe 50% of the teams out there might be worth something next year. You never know, but still, I mean, you're looking at 10 openings. There's going to be 7 to 10 next year. So yeah, he's going to get another look, Brandon. And we're talking about, of course, Davis Webb. So
yeah, we're back, boys. It's been a minute.
Why are you in my living room?
Yeah, dude, you didn't hear me come in?
No, I
didn't.
didn't.
Key.
And I guess
Forgot
my
about that?
system's not working. I don't see my dog anywhere. So yeah, you must have. Maybe you're just here so much. My dog's like, oh, hey, what's up? And just lays back down and goes to sleep.
So
you gave me that spare key that time when you were drunk. I had to drive.
The door's open. Door's open. Out here on the Carmelini Ranch, we don't lock the house. Just if you can find me, come on in.
Yeah.
The thing that just gets so funny is, do you have the other one called up, Brandon? Which is
No. This is literally, I can't, because I had to join as a guest because I still can't figure out how to log back into my account. I don't have any of my like custom backgrounds.
So like much like yours, Mike, and I know you've seen our shows, but like people still think his backdrops are real. Like there's been a few people in our comments that think like, wow,
damn, you got a nice house.
Dude, I wish.
That's a nice house. I didn't know you played the piano.
He's waiting for his wife to walk around in the background, his kids or something climbing on the couch, whatever. Yeah.
I actually do play piano, but it's been a long time, so maybe not anymore.
I remember back in the old days, you used to always have like a funny picture of Cam in your background or something like that.
I lost all of those
a lot
too.
of the fun ones. So you guys need to figure that out. Cam, you need to do a reset on your passwords or something and have everybody sign back in and assign stuff. There's got to be a way to do that.
But it's not me.
It's entirely my fault. I built a brand new computer because my other computer kind of went to shit, and then installed like a new CPU, new instance of Windows, and I can't log in.
Oh man!
So I did pay a late fee. I know, dude. This has probably been the busiest month of my life. The last month
between work and personal.
Yeah, I mean it's been great, but like, hosted my girlfriend's family for basically the entire month of May. They were here, different members of the family at different times, which was great. But it's like we're doing something every night. There's a plan that gets made that we're doing, which is a great time. But I'm like, I need to go grow a beard and become a hermit and live in the woods for a month in the cabin with no society and an axe because I'm tired of being social. So that was great. And then it kind of worked out that right at the end of that, this last Thursday, I was flying to Seattle to visit a different friend of ours that just got engaged, which also a great time. Never been to the Pacific Northwest before. Gorgeous, very, very green, like much more green than I anticipated. And it's been a great time, but it's like, wow. I feel like I wake up, I'm doing something every hour of the day, every minute of every hour. I go to bed and just rinse and repeat for like the past 5.5 weeks. So we're back. It's been a long time since I've devoted any portion of my brain to football. So I'm excited actually to think about that again. And I wish I had my normal football backdrop because we're back, baby.
In fairness, Brandon, the Sean Payton extension has been probably the only like legitimate news that has been Bronco news as of late. So if you're going to have like one of your busiest periods in your busiest months, you kind of picked the right period, if you will, to kind of have it. So that's, I'm giving you a legitimate pass. I mean, I'm giving you a pass anyway, but it's just like, that's a legitimate pass.
The only thing I'm taking away from this is that good things happen only on weeks when I'm here. So, newsworthy things only happen during these weeks.
It's funny you say that because the day after we got back from our trip, when we were in Italy and Greece, the day after was when the George Payton extension dropped.
Yeah.
So yeah. So Brandon, me and Mike were talking about obviously the biggest news of the day, and that is the Sean Payton contract extension. Obviously, like he and I were talking about, there's a lot to take in. Like there's not really any negatives about this, but the layers of it are so positive regarding the Sean Payton extension. So kind of take us through your thoughts on the Broncos kind of surprising us all and doing the extension now.
Well, first of all, to me, this doesn't even surprise me anymore because we have become that organization. Like we're the organization that pays people early before they need to get paid, and we do right by them. So that should bode even better into our future offseason additions going forward. But really, the first thing that came to my mind is pour one out and take a moment of silence for every person that thought that Sean Payton was giving up play calling duties to Davis Webb because he was forced to, and they don't want him there anymore.
If you'd have been here earlier, you would have heard me make that take. So it's a cold take now, but hey, twinsies.
Yeah.
Twinsies.
Yeah. I'm in your house, so I stole it from you.
That's true. Yeah. It's only like 100
It
yards.
was on a note. It was on the
right
notepad
over there. I can walk over and just sit next to you.
Yeah. It was next to the fridge. That's where this drink is from. I just
Help
took
yourself,
it.
yeah.
I don't ask. But that was my first reaction. And I mean, again, I'm not even surprised because this is just like what we do. But kudos to the team for, making it well known that Sean Payton is going to continue to be our guy moving forward. And like, you look at way back when this happened and we traded a first round pick and it was like, oh, that's a horrible trade. We got fleeced. Who trades for a coach? That's not something that you do. It's not ever worth it. It never works out. And like, okay, well, we had what was the statistic that was released when they did that announcement? It was like the second most wins in a 3-year span or something like that, or third most wins in 3-year span since he came in to be our coach. So, yeah, but I'm going to silent for all the haters as well, actually.
Yeah.
So, but I'm stoked. I'm excited. Really, really interested to see what this offense looks like with Davis Webb. Obviously, Sean Payton's still around. Obviously, he's still going to have a big voice in that building, and like how much of it is going to be still like a Sean Payton flavored offense, but with some Davis Webb wrinkles. Is it going to be a whole new thing? I kind of hope not, because I don't want Bo to have to learn a brand new offense again. But yeah, I think that was welcome news to see, and we're not going to have to worry about the coaching carousel in Denver for quite a while, which is so nice because I'm so tired of talking about it.
so Mike, before, I want you to shoot off your idea that we talked about before Brandon hopped in about your prediction that seems more
my accurate prediction. That one, the one that's definitely going to happen. Sure, I'll share that.
Yeah,
First of all, I agree with Brandon. Davis Webb came out and said, "Look, it's still Sean Payton's offense, just some minor tweaks,"
which is what we've been thinking too.
Yeah. Now, in fairness, Sean Payton would have told Davis to say that even if they were making major changes,
right?
But that's an argument for training camp. We'll see it. We'll see it at some point, or we'll hear about it. But I do believe it. Like, Sean Payton knows that system. Bo knows that system. The players know that system. You don't want to start over and then throw an OC in there his first time. That would be stupid. So Sean's problem's never been the scheme. It's been the play calling. So, yeah. A couple tweaks, great. Now, here's what's going to happen, Brandon, and you don't even need to write it down because we're going to clip it because it's going to happen. This is going to be the whole Shanahan thing. This is how this is going to work. Sean's going to coach till he either wins a Super Bowl or two or he turns 70. That's just what's going to happen. So Davis Webb is going to do great. Okay. Next year or the year after, he's going to go be a coach somewhere.
He's 62 right now. I just had to throw that out there. I forgot how old he was. He's 62.
62. Okay. He's 62. He's going to be, this contract will be 67. He says he wants to coach another 8 years. I take him at his word. But if he wins a couple Super Bowls, as G-Man in the Valley said, you just take your your gold jacket and you walk.
You got Masters on the mind.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah, well, I live two lives. It's either golf or football. But Davis Webb leaves. He's going to be a coach somewhere for some schlacky, trash franchise. He's going to get fired after 3 or 4 years because they all do. 80% of them get fired after their first contract. And then he comes back year later, 2 years later, and then he's going to be the next head coach of the Denver Broncos. That's how this thing's going to play out. Also, you need to start doing some sit-ups, start dieting a little bit. Davis is getting a little bubbly around the waist. He's starting to get that coach belly.
It's the offseason, man.
Guys don't want to see that. Tighten it up, Webb.
He's Eddie Lacy rolling into the training camp.
Yes, he's Eddie Lacy. Great callback. A little pudgy, but he needs to do it. Can we?
I'll never forget.
Genius? No, not until he proves us otherwise. Paul,
did you guys see? Gosh, I can't remember what analyst said this, but when the Eddie Lacy thing happened, someone came out and was talking about it and was like, he's a Popeye's biscuit away from being a tight end. I can't remember who said that, but it was one of the funniest things that I've ever heard.
I just wonder when people say stuff like that, if that comes right off the top of their head, or if they write them down and they scratch it out and they're like, okay, got it. And then they save it in their pocket until they need it. And then they're like, yes.
That's what I do. I'm not good enough to do that. That's why I can't be stand up.
Yeah, I can't come up with it right away. I got to plan it. I got to plan it all. So, yeah.
That's a great prediction, though. I mean, that'd be crazy.
So obviously, since we haven't done as far as many Bronco shows, and the last Bronco show we did was 2 weeks ago, there's been some news, but obviously not like major news, if you will. There was the Sean Payton extension, but obviously there's the Jonathan Cooper news. I don't want to dive too much into that. But it's something that we'll see kind of how it impacts the future. I mean, relative to the actual room, the Broncos are really deep. I mean, they are a really deep edge room. So if he's forced to miss some time due to a suspension that gets handed out by the NFL, I don't think the Broncos will miss a beat for the most part when it comes to that edge room. Caleb Lohner, as far as some other news and notes, Caleb Lohner obviously was injured as well, or he was injured. And as much as it was great to see Sean Payton throw his name out there in OTAs, unprovoked or unasked, if you will, he's still at this point 4th, 5th, projection on the depth chart. So it's not one that's earth shattering, but it's just definitely devastating in the sense of the Caleb Lohner fan club. Caleb
Lohner might be a loner on the practice squad.
I mean,
I call it like I see it.
He always was to me.
That's true. He was, but please, football gods, I know we already got our big move. We already got our trade. I'm not expecting this to happen. It is an absolute just S show, as Mike so eloquently put it in Arizona. Bring Trey McBride home. Please. That's all I want. It's not going to happen. We already have too many tight ends. We drafted another one. Evan Ingram still exists. He's still on the roster. They're probably not going to trade him. He's easily their best player. But I would literally cry.
Are you doing the DNVR deal, which was the 2 first-round picks?
Oh, I didn't see that.
I don't
think I would do that. I'd give them a player. I would give them
Troutman,
a first and a player. I would give them Troutman, and I would pay them money to take it. Yeah. And I say this knowing full well that this is 100% a pipe dream, and this is not happening. But a man can dream.
What is it? A Walmart gift card. And
we got those.
Hey man, you don't know what the amount on that gift card is.
It's
gonna be $20, and there's a million of them.
Yeah,
do the math.
Don't forget about the rollback prices either.
Look, we drafted 2 tight ends. Right. Evan Ingram's under contract. It's probably like a $6 million hit or something. Didn't I read that at some point? I don't see him going anywhere. They're talking him up. I think he plays. I think he plays well. And then he's gone. This is last year here. But Lohner, sad to see him on the practice or getting a cleanup and missing time. But I never saw him playing this year anyway.
No.
But I did see them putting him back on the the practice squad, and Sean likes his little pets, and he's one of them. So
and
maybe Justin Jolie is the great value Trey McBride.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm weird. I'm a little higher on Dolan Bentley than I am Jolie.
I do like Dolan Bentley.
Yeah. Well. So I think we're going to be fine there.
Well,
let's see if we use them this year first.
And I will say, there's at least enough wiggle room for Lohner. I mean, the injury obviously is a setback, but we also have to remember this is the basketball prospect who is actually transitioning to tight end, and as far as a dominant tight end. And obviously Sean, mentioned out about, his physical prowess and the blocking and, and everything, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one where, there's at least some wiggle room. There's at least some wiggle room that despite the injury, he can still be able to grow and mature and get better. And, maybe it's a blessing in disguise. This injury is truly a blessing in disguise. And I'm kind of with all of you guys. I wasn't expecting Lohner to be on the 53, but the injury sort of derails it, if you will. In a sense, he'll probably still be on the practice squad, but you never know. The other bit of news was, and this is maybe more so of the bigger news. was the Pat Surtain raise that got handed out. I believe it was a $5 million raise, if you will, something that you don't really see, that you really don't see as much. And I think that it falls in line with what you were mentioning, Brendan, which was this organization just does right with everybody. It does right for everybody. And I think, it's a different precedent, but it's one where it goes to show you the amount of care and everything from top to bottom that everybody puts with everybody in that organization.
Yeah, dude, that just class act all around by the team. I wonder if they gave him a $5 million Walmart gift card. I would hope not. I hope that was actually real cash, but just love to see it.
Jack Kenna asks, I know Richie, and Richie, I mean, it's Richie, for the Wild Wild West pod on Wednesdays, asks about the UDFAs. How many do you see the Broncos keeping? You're the guest, Mike, so we'll kick it off to you first.
Well, if you're talking about the new ones, not the existing ones, I mean, there's two players that would possibly have a chance, I think, in my book. One of them would probably be York. He'll have a shot. And then there's a huge lineman. What's his name, Brandon?
Tyler Miller, no relation.
Yeah, Miller will have a chance too.
As far as I know.
I think those two. I've seen some other names by my viewers have thrown at me. I don't pretend to go do that kind of work. Honestly, I kind of let that play out itself. You can get down the rabbit.
Yeah,
those were going to be my two names as well. I think we lost Mike for a minute here.
We might have lost sound.
Yeah, I would pick those two as well. That. Oh yeah, we lost you. Those are going to be my names. You took them away from me, but I mean,
great minds.
I broke into your house, so it's.
You saw my notes on my desk.
Unplug the mic.
Yeah.
Miller time. It's Miller. If Von Miller comes back, it's Miller time. I don't think Von Miller's coming.
Well, it's Crown and Coke time right now for Uncle Mike.
But I will say,
I've been live streaming since 5:30. So
yeah, I've been there. But I think the easiest answer is obviously like when you see the contracts that get handed out for those UDFAs, you get a sense of how much the Broncos value those said UDFAs. And Tyler Miller, Taurine York, and Deshaun McCullough. Those were the top three that were given the largest contracts. And so I think it's understandable that a lot of people would probably be thinking that those three are probably going to be making it. I would be objective as possible and say that I'd be lying if I didn't think that Dane Key and McCullough at least have an option, at least have a window. Deshaun McCullough, it obviously is, as I said, he is the dollar store version of an Isaiah Simmons, not a Kirkland brand or whatever. He's a dollar store. And then you have Dane Key, who's just your prototypical Sean Payton wide receiver. I mean, he just does everything. So
wide receiver is going to be a tough nut to. I mean, he can make practice squad, but that's going to be a tough one to break. But McCullough is a great call. I mean, what is he sitting behind Johnny Walker or something? Like, there's got to be room for this guy to possibly make it. He'll have an opportunity. I agree with you there.
He plays everywhere. I mean,
he'll have an opportunity.
He plays
Tyson Anderson. We'll see if he even makes the team.
He plays well, and that's the thing too, Brandon. Right? Like you and I made the point of like, well, they signed JT Gray, they signed Sam Franklin, who are supposed to be, special teams demons, and didn't exactly pan out that way. And so, I wouldn't be surprised if Tyson Anderson's
Yeah, I feel like, and it's a crowded room, but just knowing George Payton, they signed 4 DBs. One of them's probably going to stick around. I mean, they're competing against like Reese Taylor. See what Chris Abrams-Drain does, and then
I don't know.
We're not going to
fight on. We're not going to fight on KAD, are we?
No, I love Chris Abrams.
Okay.
No, I'm not saying like I want to know what he's going to do this next year. I think he had a great year last year. No, don't take this as shade against my boy, but I just think that there is probably space maybe for someone to break into that room. I'm not saying they're going to break into the starting lineup, but I mean, it's pretty much depending on how you view. It really depends on what they do with Barron, but I think one of those DBs might stick around. I don't know which one. I don't know enough about Amari Harvey, Brent Austin, William Wright, or Parker Robertson. I kind of want to be Parker Robertson just because I want another long-haired white cornerback.
Name Parker.
Fun.
We're gonna need one when Riley Moss gets traded.
Parker Robertson. What did I say?
Yeah.
Right. So, well, that's fair. He has to fill the role.
Yeah.
But other than that,
have a cracker back on the team. Without a cracker back, we won't beat the Broncos.
But yeah, York, McCullough, and Miller are kind of the big three obvious ones.
Yeah.
So when you look at the corner, and we briefly touched on it, I was going to say Mike, but it's a hard thing in a sense because you can't really go wrong necessarily in the sense of wanting to keep everybody, and it's one thing that for as much crap, if you will, that people kind of give George Payton. He built the cornerback room. He built the edge room. He falls in love with corners. Yes, he does. But it's in large part that you see the room that you do today, and it's a deep room. And with Jaquan McMillan and the contract stuff, it's a very interesting conversation because, Riley Moss is in his contract year.
He's gone.
He's in a contract year, and then you're starting to kind of get things percolating with where they're talking but not talking with Jaquan McMillan. I think if you were to ask me right now, I think that there's a very real chance that Moss will play out his contract, but then he'll sign for someone for somewhere else. And I think where it really kind of falls in line for me is like there's an actual world where the Broncos will get another compensatory pick probably due to the fact that a team will value Moss or overpay on Moss and give him about $20 million a year. And that's just so rich. I really do think, Moss is a pretty good corner for a cornerback too. But with $20 million being kind of that high going rate for a cornerback too, and you can pay Jaquan McMillan and get a chance to finally develop Jahdae Barron, I think that's pretty easy sell for me.
Yeah, well, first of all, you can't have too many cornerbacks ever. And second of all, just again, knowing George and knowing that this probably isn't needed, even again with Barron, but people say pencil it in. I'm chiseling this in stone. 2027 first round pick is probably a tackle or a cornerback.
It needs to be a tackle.
It needs to be a tackle.
If there's one,
but if there's a cornerback there, George is going to get him.
Well, yeah. I mean, Jahdae Barron was a wasted pick to me, but
I don't know if I loved him coming out, and I'm just like, have a plan.
Have a plan,
please.
It's just, if he's not on the field this year, then most people should agree that was a bad pick or it's a bad deal. But they do have him on the outside practicing, competing with Moss. So they're going to keep Jaquan McMillan. Chris Thomason can back off of that story all he wants, but it's a real story. They are going to try and sign Jaquan and bring him back. So what's Cornbread doing now?
Dude, George can't help it, man. He's like shiny. It's like,
I know it's a toy. But,
right?
Well, he was idiot enough to say they're harder to find than quarterbacks. You don't say that to a team that went through Paxton Lynch and everybody else. You wait until you find your quarterback, and then you can talk that kind of crap. But I think Riley Moss
by every possible sports franchise that is the game of American football.
Riley Moss will be gone at the end of training camp, or he'll be gone next year after the season. He's not coming back, and it'll have to be Jahdae Barron, and they'll probably have to get a cornerback too. But if he can't show out, man, there were a lot of really good players that Broncos country were looking at when they took Jahdae Barron at what was it 20? So
or 12. I thought it was 12. Was it 12?
20. 12 was our starting quarterback.
That was the year before. Yeah. I think he's probably Barron is probably the replacement for Moss. I hope, but maybe
I hope so for our
maybe
sake.
he's the Brandon Jones replacement. Maybe they move him to safety. I don't know, but just even if he's the Riley Moss heir apparent and he looks good and it works out, he's going into year 3 and he's finally replacing your starting outside corner, and he has another 2 years beyond that season on his deal, and then you got to pay him.
Well, I think what you at least have with Barron is versatility, and that's, I think, going to be still a relatively big weapon for you for a defense and everything that obviously we know that Vance Joseph loves so much. Barron's going to at least offer you versatility. And I'm always, called into remembrance of what Sean Payton mentioned about Barron the first year he was drafted, which he actually, made the comparison that he's a Malcolm Jenkins. Well, Malcolm Jenkins, when he was with the Saints, he was playing everywhere. Like Kareem Jackson was, when he was with Houston, was a corner converted to safety. Malcolm Jenkins was one where he was a corner, he was a safety. He would also kind of play down in the box a little bit. And you and I talked about that too, Brandon. Like he's kind of playing that star position, or like that chess piece, if you will, at times. I mean, he even played linebacker in spurts. I think that had more to do with the linebacker depth than anything. But it was just, it goes to show you that he's I think a very versatile asset. I don't know what that necessarily means, but I mean, it would be nice to have him in a nice little niche, if you will, going forward.
Let me ask you a question.
I love it, but real quick, my only problem with versatile pieces is in Vance Joseph's defense.
Yep.
He doesn't know what to do with them.
He doesn't.
I have 2 names for you: Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins.
No, I know. Yeah, we don't know that answer, but the good news is we know that they're football players. It's just for some reason Vance does not seem to actually have them work out, if you will.
Yeah. If you're go ahead, Mike. Yeah.
Week one, and Moss has a little ankle tweak or something. So, who you want? You want Chris Abrams drain, or do you want Jahdae Barron in there taking his place for that game?
I'm not ruling Jaquan McMillan either.
No, Jaquan's already in the game.
Jaquan's your slot corner.
He's your slot. He's your nickel. So who's gonna take Moss on the outside? Would you sleep better at night knowing it was KAD or Jahdae Barron?
June 11th, 2026, KAD.
I'm sitting here today. It's KAD.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to show me something. I love the idea of safety. I mean, it's a need, but then you're looking for another corner because I still think Moss is gone. So the best case for me, for Carmelini, is Moss. We keep Jaquan. Moss goes. Jahdae Barron shows out this year, and he becomes our CB2 on the outside, and all our problems are solved at that position. We can talk about tackle and linebacker after that.
Linebacker is going to be solved by
Murdoch.
Murdoch, man, the Daredevil.
Now Cam the other day tweets, Red Daredevil Murdoch or something. I'm like, how many freaking nicknames does he get? Like,
no, it's so perfect though. Do you know what do you know about Daredevil?
But I get that. But what I'm saying is, like, we're not going to use his first name, so we're going to make his nickname Red his first name and give him a new middle name. I'm like, the poor guy, can't get his real name used. How many nicknames do I got to remember for this guy? But yeah, I love that. I think we used to call Troy Polamalu that too. We called him something, but
Polamalu?
Do you remember Troy Polamalu?
No, I know. Have you heard the I can't remember what player that's an analyst now talked about this. Oh my gosh. Pat McAfee is Pat McAfee. Have you heard the Pat McAfee story on Troy Polamalu?
No.
Oh my gosh. I'm not going to go look it up. It's amazing, but I love Troy Polamalu. I didn't know we called him that.
But yeah, so
Tasmanian Devil, I think.
Yeah, I think that sounds right. I was gonna say like the Flying Hawaiian, but that's a baseball nickname for Shane Victorino. But no, I'm definitely kind of curious to see how it all kind of shakes out. I mean, I think that I'm not even ruling out the possibility that Jaquan McMillan even gets boundary snaps also. So like, because I think that obviously they'll definitely be agreeing to a deal. And I think that there's at least a world where I think they'll probably want to see what he can do outside, because that was also kind of what we got a chance to see with Chris Harris Jr. Right, like he became one of the premier slot corners in the NFL, and then he started to do a fair amount of things on the boundary, and then obviously he moved on, got older, and went to a few teams here and there, but like he became a pretty decent boundary corner. Now, I think Harris has a little bit more size than J-Mac, but I'm not ruling out the world where you can have J-Mac be a boundary corner, because then, too, like you can even have Barron be a nickel corner. And I think Barron would be just as good of a nickel corner as he would be a safety. I mean, I think safety has my personal preference been his like long-term plan, but because he's so versatile, it's one where I'm not ruling out the possibility of J-Mac taking boundary. And then, so I think for me, it's like, I'm probably going to go with, I would love to see them develop Chris Abrams-Drain more. But I think for me, it's like, I'm not opposed to this idea of J-Mac taking some boundary snaps and you have Barron be your nickel corner. And maybe that's even something too, where they kind of alternate it. If Moss has moved, you kind of alternate where Jaquan McMillan is a boundary and Barron is a boundary at times, and they just kind of alternate who's your slot corner.
If that's what you have to do to get Barron on the field, I'll take it, but I don't love it.
But it's one that's a niche,
Yeah.
And that's really all you kind of ask for with someone who's so.
I think you might create the chance for two problems if you do that. So you've got a really strong, nickel corner in Jaquan McMillan, who's good at getting after the quarterback, good tackler. And he's 5'10", 180 pounds or whatever he is. And then Barron's like 5'11", 180 pounds or whatever. Mm-hmm. So Barron's, certainly big enough to come in and do the position. But if you've got a really good, nickel corner, slot corner, whatever, I would prefer just put him outside, give him a little safety help, and then you've only got one problem instead of, maybe Jaquan's not quite as good on the outside, and
ultimately, I think that's why safety is my ideal pathway for Barron in general. Yeah. With how he is, his IQ and everything, and the way that you can see him play and really get a chance to see him roam and everything, safety's his best long-term plan. Cornbird asks, "Is Nate Atkins?" I hope Nate Atkins is gone. Just point blank.
If they're keeping Prentice and then drafting two tight ends, probably Atkins is gone. Cornbread, probably. The thing about Sean, though, he loves the kid, so you just never really know.
He also loves.
We'll find out at the end. He'll make it to the final cuts, though.
He also loves some Reaper Vape.
If as much as I love Jahdae Barron, if the final play for him is he's your safety, and you could have just drafted Malachi Starks,
it's crazy. Yeah,
okay.
It was a bad pick anyway you look at it. No, unless he takes Riley Moss's place next year, it was a bad pick. You don't take 20.
So I would be remiss if I didn't actually ask you guys what's your guys' take, because obviously me and Jordan did the What If episode, but we also did an episode where we drafted an all-time team. So Jordan had his team and I had my team, and I know Mike has been a fan since the 40s, so he's the right person to ask about this in terms of the all-time team. And Brandon, you might be a little bit biased on Jordan, knowing the fact you share a certain birthday with this guy. But to recap, for anybody that didn't get a chance to see that episode, like I said, we did an all-time team, but we did a draft. So I could not select a player that Jordan had. And so like when you look at it, this is Jordan's team: Peyton Manning, Clinton Portis, Rod Smith, Brandon Marshall, Julius Thomas, Gary Zimmerman, Dan Neal, Tom Nalen, Louis Vasquez, Orlando Franklin, and Andy Janovich for offense. On defense, it was Elvis Dumerville and DeMarcus Ware. Inside linebacker, Carl Mecklenburg and D.J. Williams. Defensive line was Trevor Price, Derek Wolfe, Pat Surtain, Chris Harris Jr., Steve Atwater, Brian Dawkins, and then his head coach is Mike Shanahan.
Now we're supposed to remember everything you just said.
So
the
that's
first thing that stands out to me, he didn't take Von Miller, and he took
how many wins?
Elvis Dumerville, and who else did he take?
Elvis Dumerville and DeMarcus Ware.
So he took Dumerville over Von Miller.
Did he fax him the agreement?
So that's an L. That's an L right there. All right, so good. Go ahead. Now let's hear yours.
So how many wins do you think he's putting up?
That team?
That team specifically.
Like in the league now?
Well, if you're, you know how the whole
win every freaking game they play. Yeah, they're gonna go 16-1 because they're not gonna play their starters in the last game.
Yeah. Okay. So then,
Brandon, am I right or am I right?
Oh no, easily. Yeah.
And then my team is Elway, TD, Demarius, Lionel Taylor, Shannon Sharp, Ryan Clady, Mark Schlereth, Matt Paradis, Quinn Miners, Matt Lepsis, Howard Griffith, and then defense was Von Miller and Simon Fletcher, and then Randy Gregory and Al Wilson, and then Lyle Alzado, Malik Jackson, Champ Bailey, Nakeeb, Dennis Smith, and Justin Simmons. Because
you're not losing. Well, you're not losing the game. Yeah, you're probably not losing the game there.
And by the way, the funniest thing is like when I was trying to choose head coaches, we all know that like some of the better coaches in Broncos history is either Mike Shanahan, Dan Reeves, Gary Kubiak, and Red Miller, right? Well, I knew for a fact I was going to be putting Dan Reeves with John Elway. So it was one where I had to go with Gary Kubiak.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we've never won a Super Bowl without Kubiak.
So who wins?
Or
who has the better team?
Who were your wide receivers again? DT and who?
Lionel Taylor.
DT and Lionel Taylor. And Shannon Sharp is his tight end.
I mean, I think your team's better for
you.
me. But I mean, they're both so good. That's like picking them apart.
Jordan took Clinton Portis. Right?
Over TD. He did that. Yeah. And which, Clinton Portis is a great running back. TD.
He's
showing his youth.
Well, it also kind of showed like draft slot per se. Like
I was going to ask about that.
We did kind of like a snake draft. So it was like,
all right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's all those.
He both nailed it. There's not a whole lot of missing pieces. Leaving Von Miller off when he's available is a little weird. I don't understand that. One of the greatest Broncos of all time. If these guys are all in their prime, but I love all those players you mentioned. Justin Simmons. I'm surprised nobody took Steve Atwater, but maybe that's me showing my age. But you took Dennis Smith.
I think Jordan took Steve.
Oh, we did. Okay.
Yeah, he's not that dumb.
His safeties were Atwater and Brian Dawkins.
Guys, give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
No problem. Yeah.
I don't know, man. That's a hard one.
The funniest thing, Brandon, is we got done with stuff.
Yeah.
And we're like, there is no way we could have done this with 3 people.
No. I'm literally looking. I'm kind of mentally checking off the names that you're saying, and I'm like, "Are you expecting me to do a draft right now? Because there's no one left." No. I was gonna be like, "I'm gonna have the JV team."
Yeah.
Okay. I would love Craig Morton, but
yeah.
Or maybe I'd consider Jake Plummer. I consider Jake Plummer
or Brian Greasy.
And
do Riley Odom at tight end.
Yeah.
But so it would be impossible for you to do a team.
No,
but,
I can't.
But you probably could have done John Lynch for safety.
Yeah, John Lynch available.
It probably wouldn't have been as deep. But you would at least had some players, though.
Who were Jordan safeties?
Atwater and B-Doc, Weapon X.
Who were your safeties?
Dennis Smith.
Damn it. I forgot. I thought Dennis Smith was available. Of course he's not.
Yeah. But like I said, you could go John Lynch and
I was gonna go John Lynch and Dennis Smith, but I can't.
Well, I was gonna say you could go like John Lynch and Darian Stewart or TJ Ward or
that is true. Man, I don't know who I'd pick between I think I'd probably pick TJ Ward between those two.
Yeah. But no, it would have been I was telling Brandon and Mike, it was like because obviously the reason why we did the topic was because we were trying to figure out topics, and for two people that was easy, but if we actually had three people it would have been absolutely impossible.
Y'all are forgetting the best position. Okay, give me Rick
Jason Elam.
Rick Upchurch is my returner, and I'm good.
Jason Elam is your kicker.
Oh
yeah, easily. Yeah.
He is the best kicker in Broncos history.
Hey guys, we did get some good news out of camp though. Bo Nix was running. He is running, by the way. If you guys didn't know that, he is running. But he did do the walkthrough today. So that's them jogging around just a little bit in shorts. Nobody's going to get close to Bo, but he is participating, doing the walkthroughs, which is nice. And then just the sheer amount of how impressed everybody is with Jalen Waddle. Now, I know that doesn't sound like news, but how many times you see a team go out and spend draft picks and all this, capital or all that money, they bring in their big, catch of the year. And then all you hear is, he's got it's a learning curve. He's getting in shape or still, it's all like, oh my God. Like Davis Webb was frothing at the mouth today. Like he is so good. He is so good. And you can see it on the film. Like we don't have anybody short of, it's like Pat Bryant ×2 with his route running. And then it's like Mims, but like so sneaky, like you don't know where he's going. Like I'm super excited about some of the stuff we're hearing about these guys. And then they counted up, our guy Red Murdoch's also getting some love too. Yeah. So there is some good stuff coming out of camp, guys.
And I was going to say they really haven't dabbled too much about the facilities. But the one thing that Sean said today about the old facilities that I thought was really clever,
the kitchen,
was he said that that he'll remember is the kitchen because it's the heart of the facility. So
it's like my house. It's like you can see my kitchen behind Brandon. Like it's
right. But I will say
I haven't heard anything about the new facility. The only thing I've even heard about like anything remotely related to that is that they finalized the sale of Burnham Yard. Is that true?
Now we're talking about the training facility.
No, yeah. That's like I'm saying the only thing I've heard about any new facility at all, like is the stadium.
Barnum's got a ways to go. Like they're behind.
I thought that was
they're behind. They've got. It's going to be a lot of work. They're up against.
Oh yeah. So. But they bought it is what I'm saying. Like I thought that's official. That's the last thing I saw.
Yep, they got that. The new facility, I think they're moving in next week. They're moving in, so that's exciting. And
I thought there was more time on the training facility, so I didn't realize that.
Well, they were supposed to be ready this year, but the other thing that I think that'll be worth monitoring is I'm assuming there'll be tickets, but it'll still be in small capacity.
Yes, they are issuing tickets. I didn't get the number. I don't remember the number, but there'll be tickets and people will be at camp this year.
Yeah.
So
but as far as anybody commenting about the new facilities, it really hasn't been too much in depth other than if you get a chance to see some of the clips from people on social media and you get a chance to see those facilities like from Romy, had a really nice shot of facilities and everything. It's a beautiful look of those facilities. Like it's a weird kind of comparison, but it kind of reminded me a little bit of Talking Stick, like the Rocky Stadium of Talking Stick, the way it was kind of built and how nice that those facilities were. But like, it seems like it's going to be kind of state of the art.
It's going to be the best. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all I would just say is like, there really hasn't been too much as far as like the facilities.
I saw there was a video that Romy took.
Yeah, where she was on the other side.
Yeah. It looks nice.
Yeah, that's really just kind of like been the extent of it. But I mean, all in all, there really hasn't been too much, if you will, to kind of talk about. I mean, obviously, OTAs is your, middle ground, if you will, for like, when you talk about, the stuff from rookie minicamp to OTAs, you start kind of having those same conversations. One thing I was going to say, Brendan, that we haven't actually had a chance to talk about, and it's something that you mentioned to us, and we don't have to dabble too much into this, but it's the interdivision. We'll look into the interdivision. You lead us off with that one.
Yeah. So kind of looking at the state of the AFC West right now and what kind of transpired in the offseason. Obviously you had like the big moves, Jalen Waddle, and obviously the Raiders getting finally potentially a quarterback, 2 quarterbacks technically if you count Kirk Cousins. But just kind of looking at the state of what the AFC West looks like after this offseason, not even necessarily doing a ranking of like how we think the division's going to go, but just even an offseason review. And to me, the biggest thing that just kind of stands out is I don't know what's going to happen with the Chargers defense and the Chiefs defense. And I also obviously don't know what's going to happen specifically with Patrick Mahomes, although he seems like he's some kind of ridiculous alien because he's healed and back doing things he's not, but that's what it sounds like. But like the Chiefs losing Trent McDuffie, replacing him with Mansour Delane. They replaced Pacheco with Kenneth Walker. They signed Alohi Gilman. Chargers lost Odafe Owe and replaced him with the 25-year-old rookie Akeem Mesidor, who is really good. But I think it's just the biggest thing that I'm kind of taking away from the offseason in the AFC West and kind of what that shook up to be is I think I still feel pretty comfortable saying the Broncos have probably the best chance of winning the division again.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is just specifically the Chargers losing Owe was absolutely huge for them. They already don't have a great pass rush. And just the fact that they're getting Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater back is going to be a big factor in things anyway, but it's the Chargers. You never know what's going to happen there. And they did kind of continue to beef up that offensive line. But if they can't keep Justin Herbert healthy and upright, who knows what's going to happen there. Obviously, even if Patrick Mahomes comes back and he's good to go, losing Trent McDuffie is huge. They also lost Jalen Watson and Brian Cook. They lost a lot of people on that defense. And so even though there are a lot of flashy moves that happened and even I would say Jalen Waddle wasn't even necessarily the biggest one, but just doing kind of a review of the offseason of the AFC West as a whole, I think we still come out pretty good, even though we lost Dre Greenlaw, we lost John Franklin Myers. We didn't make that many moves. And the one move we did make was Jalen Waddle, but I'm curious to know what y'all think about the AFC West offseason.
Go ahead, Mike. You and I briefly touched on it with the Chargers.
Yeah. Well, first of all, the Raiders should be better. I think they'll be better coached. We'll see what happens with Mendoza and all that. I have Kirk Cousins starting the season and then Mendoza taking over at some point. I could see them winning 6 games this year or something like that. So, we'll see on them, but I'm not going to really factor them in. I think it'll come down to the Broncos and the Chiefs and the Chargers. Honestly, Patrick Mahomes hasn't played that well over the last 2 or 3 seasons. So
no, it's true.
At some point in time, we need to start seeing him for what he is. He's a very good quarterback who makes some clutch plays at times, which sounds familiar to Broncos country. So the struggle, I think, is going to be for the Chiefs. They just really haven't reloaded that team. Yes, I'm sure about whatever I've said. I'm sure about it. I don't know what.
Might have been the Raiders.
Cornbread. Yeah, I'm sure about the Raiders. Oh, that's right. I have a bet with Cornbread on the Mendoza Kirk Cousins thing. No, of course I'm not sure, but that's my bet. And I'm sticking to it. But look,
who knows what's even happening with Rice, right? Gosh,
right.
That whole situation.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got the Rashee Rice situation. You've got Travis Kelce's coming back. Again, he didn't look like he should have been back last year. So, not really scared of him. And then, Kenneth Walker, we'll see. He lost his job to back up in Seattle. So there's a lot of pieces missing for Kansas City. I see them bouncing back from the 6 wins they had or whatever they had. But I think the big challenge would be the Chargers and the Broncos. I think the Broncos will take the division, long story short. AFC West, and I think they'll battle for first seed with the Bills, who I think will beat the Patriots, and New England will be a distant second. I've got them with like 9 or 10 wins. So
it's kind of weird because like I do think the Chiefs are going to have a better record, but it's like, I mean, even Sean kind of touched on this relative to the Broncos. Is like, with 14-3, they may be a better team, but they may not be 14-3, right?
Yeah, no.
Well, like the Chiefs may have a better win-loss record than they do last year, but that doesn't mean they're a better team, or it still means they're probably about as equal as they were last year. And I think that when you look at them, it's like I do expect them to have a better win-loss record, but it's like they've been going about it in such a bizarre way and building that team right now that's not making any sense. Like I think Kenneth Walker will have an impact, but going out and spending an abundant amount of money on a position like running back when you needed tackle depth, you needed defensive,
and they just traded a tackle.
You needed, you needed defensive help like no other, and you traded tackle depth, and that maybe not have been a starter, but you traded tackle depth, which is thus impacting it, and thus impacting possibly if Patrick Mahomes goes down still with another injury. So it's just a bizarre way of thinking. They signed Ladarius Sneed, but Sneed is like in his mid-30s right now, or he's like just over 30 still. He's old, and he's a veteran corner, and he's going to a bit of a comfortable situation. But can
you bring my screen up?
Yeah.
So here's the Chiefs. Let's do it real quick. Just take 2 minutes to do this. Week 1, Broncos are going to beat them in Arrowhead. Agreed?
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
All right. So week 2, Colts in Arrowhead. We'll give that to the Chiefs, right?
Yeah.
And we'll give them Miami at Raiders. Tricky game, but to be, common sense wise, we'll give them that.
Yeah.
Agree? So their schedule starts out pretty manageable. They're 3-1. They get the early bye week, which I think really screws them later in the year.
Dude, that later schedule is gross.
It's a gauntlet.
Now, I don't care what, how we do it, but we're going to split the Chargers and them. They're going to lose to Seattle. We're going to sweep them. They're going to beat the Jets. They're going to beat Atlanta.
You'll do it the other way after.
You have them winning it against Seattle and us.
Maybe.
Yeah. Oh, and the one below. Oh, you're giving them one. We're splitting or we're sweeping.
Yeah, we're sweeping them.
Oh, you might want to swap that.
Where do I have it? Oh gosh, I'm pushing. Yeah. This one does confuse me.
I was like, hold on.
Push
your words and your actions don't make sense.
Push the winner, Mike.
Yeah.
Buffalo beat them. LA Rams beat them.
I think the Bengals in Cincinnati. I think the Bengals actually can. Good.
This is a toss-up game here
because the Bengals are another one of those like the Chiefs, where I do think they'll be better than they were last year, in a sense, record-wise.
Brandon tiebreaker.
Gosh,
I got the Chiefs winning. It's not that serious. Well,
I think I'm going to pick the Chiefs just because I don't know what the Bengals defense is going to be.
All right, they'll beat the Patriots. The 49ers will beat them, and then they'll probably need to win that, and they're going to go 10-7. I mean, that's not unreasonable to even look at that and think that.
Right.
So that's 4 games better than they did last year, but I could see this playing out. And then, some of these toss-up games, the Broncos, drop one to them. They can get to 11, or maybe, they eke another one out. But they could also lose that Bengals game. So I'm comfortable putting them at 10-7 right now. I have no problems doing that.
And Andy Reid is notorious for losing games that he shouldn't.
Yeah,
that's true.
So
the only thing I would say, Mike, that you got a little bit wrong about their state of their roster is they actually have a new tight end coming in. His name is Travis Swift.
Oh, is it Swift now?
He should
think
take
it's
her,
no.
he
I
should
think
take her last name.
I think it's Kelsey, but yeah, he took her name.
Yeah, he should. He should take her name.
He should just take it
Yeah.
at this point. He
But,
should have just retired. So, anyways, there you go. There's your Carmelini addition to the graphics of the show.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean,
That's fine.
that's a great way to look at those. I mean, you just flip through them, and you don't overthink them.
Mhm.
Of course, we got to do. I'm sure all of our shows will be doing, our final, predictions for the year after training camp.
Preseason.
Maybe even during the preseason or whatever. But it's fun to look at, and I mean, I can defend that like easily. Now they could win every game, or they could win 5 games. You never know, but it's hard to argue, with this kind of logic. It's like, there's a couple coin toss games in there, but they could certainly be and then you could have the Chargers at 11 and you could have the Broncos at 13.
Well, what would you much rather have? I mean, it kind of, and it goes to show you
what would I have you mean in the playoffs?
No, I actually wasn't done asking the question, but I was going to say like, well, because everybody dogs on the Broncos like schedule in general, but they ask it in a sense of like, well, they've got such a crappy schedule, but they need to bring up the fact that like, well, it's actually just the opening gauntlet. That's what drives the fact that like they have a crappy schedule, right? So what would you rather have? Would you rather have an opening gauntlet, to begin the season, or would you rather have end of the season?
Neither, but to be honest with you, neither. I don't like
the 2025 Patriots schedule.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like the opening gauntlet, but it's fine. With a new play caller, Sean and the Broncos are notoriously famous for their slow starts to the season. They're going to have to break that mold. But I've said this before. You get through that first 6 at 4-2. Yep. You're getting home field advantage. You go 3-3, you're making the playoffs. After the first 6 games, they're gonna roll. So it kind of cuts both ways. But no, to answer your question, Cam, I would prefer to not have it. I'd prefer to have a little bit of it, a little bit of a warm up. Yeah. Give me a couple of the easier games to start the year to kind of get things rolling, and then get into it coming right out the gates at Kansas City. And then of course you got the Rams and the 49ers, and I forget who else is there. I mean, Seattle, like it's all there. But yeah, I mean, honestly, don't panic. 3-3, we're fine. Yeah. So it's fine.
Also, we haven't done the Chargers and Raiders predictions yet, but we'll get there. That'll happen at some point. Maybe not necessarily tonight, but sorry, what did you say?
So what would you prefer? Would you prefer the opening or the?
Man, that's a tough one. Part of me almost leans on I'd rather have the opening gauntlet because sort of to what Mike said, like I want to break that bad habit of getting off to an insanely slow start. But at the same time, the later into the season you get where an injuries pile up, I would like my more winnable games then. Because in the beginning of the season when everyone's fresh and healthy, that's when you can take down the gauntlet, right? If you give me that gauntlet like the Chiefs have in that situation where who knows who's available, I don't know if I would prefer neither, but I think I would almost, of the two of them, take the Broncos schedule and the way that's laid out over the Chiefs schedule.
I'll take theirs over the Chiefs for 2 reasons. One is what you said. Like they're going to be beat up and tired, and then they're going to be going through that really tough stretch towards the end of the season, and they're having that bye week at 5. Yeah, is a killer because now you got to play 13 games, or whatever it is,
with no days off.
Tough. Yeah, no days off.
Yeah,
so. No days off, and they're going to play in the late season in LA against Myles Garrett.
Now the Chargers get the Cardinals and the Raiders in week 1 and 2. So the Broncos could easily be in 2nd or 3rd place after the second week of the season. We'll see how it goes. But then they've got Bills, Seattle, Broncos, Chiefs, Rams, Texans, and then Ravens. Like they've got a schedule too. Damn. Like we all have a tough schedule in our division. So no crying in baseball, as they say. You just go out and play who's ever's in front of you. It's just that ours looks tough right out the gate. But we get a break later, and so it'll all balance out.
Yeah, and we'll do more of an extensive divisional, division by division, if you will, breakdown, and we'll definitely be doing that around preseason. I want to say, Brandon, we do it like right around like the third preseason is when we kind of like put the final touches on it. Is when we'll kind of do that, and then we gear up for week one. And actually, we do a little fun thing where we do the award predictions as well. But Mike, I got to say it's been a lot of fun. Obviously, it started off on a little bit of a rough patch there with Jordan's Wi-Fi.
Did you ever hear back from Jordan? Did he text you or anything? And
man,
I took his place. Actually, I stole his Wi-Fi.
He said that he has like a fiber optic connection, not a router, and so it's just and so it's one where it's just everything went kaputs.
That
like
sucks.
so like I asked him, like, you could do different options, maybe like hotspot, or use your phone, plug headphones in, use your phone and stuff, but unfortunately that wasn't going to work. So but he sends his apologies that he couldn't make it, so we'll definitely have to we'll definitely be doing it again, though, where we'll have you on, and maybe
I enjoyed it. No, it was great seeing
great.
you. Always loved your show. You guys know that. And it's great to see you guys finally. It's been a
long time in the works. I was gonna say it's been a long time in the works.
No, I mean, and I get it, right? Like we're everybody's got their shows, and so it's like, hey, I should invite him on, and then next thing you know, you're writing your next show. So it's
I have to ask you, because obviously you've been pretty fast rising, and a lot of that I think is to your credit, because like when you go out and you make to like the reviews and stuff like that, you kind of had a chance to really get a chance to like know a lot of the Denver Bronco podcasts, if you will, and the streams, if you will. What kind of clicked for you to just do what it was that you've been doing, which is the mic'd up sessions, and all these different crossovers? Because I will say, like, for me, it's like one of the things that I've always enjoyed is this, because at the end of the day, we're family.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, we may disagree on a fair amount of stuff when it comes to Broncos topics, but it's like, we're family. We're here. We're talking the same stuff. So where did it kind of click for you to just start doing these reviews, and then that's kind of starting into this?
Well, the reviews was I do that with movies. I do that with books. Like I'm just a natural critic anyway. And I, found things that I liked, and I can identify, like, can't you like you ever see a preview and you go, of a movie and you're like, well, this movie's going to suck. I can tell right away. Like
sure enough,
I can crap this movie. I used to tell people I can crap a song in 3 notes. Like I can tell you, but like with the Broncos podcast, well, I've just soaked them all up. And then I just started naturally critiquing them. So if you go way back, when I was on a podcast for years, but this was a long time ago. So this isn't the first time I was in podcasting. It was before YouTube video. So it was all Apple podcasts and stuff like that. So I was experienced talking, but I was doing the reviews, and I kind of just did it it started out as kind of a thing where on a weekend I was bored, and I was like, who are the best? Who's really good at this? And I didn't even know everybody yet. And I had such a small following on Twitter at the time. And I said, these are my top 20, Broncos media people, or whatever I called it. This is a few years ago, right? And all of a sudden I had like 100 likes and comments, and I was like, oh crap. I have to like stop and like look at what I'm doing, because people are paying attention. And so I took it very seriously, and I understood that you can't just put out a list like that, and then if you're not going to like do the work. Like I thought like 5 people would go, yeah, I'm kind of like those guys too. Like it would just, and it just blew up into something. And then
take our list very seriously in football Twitter.
I took it very seriously too, though.
Yeah.
And because I would get, here I am, this, me who's not doing shows, and I'm not going to name names, but I've got people on TV and people on the radio and people, like are direct messaging me asking me why they're number 15. And like it's like, oh my God, it was crazy.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm not a scared person. I'm not frightened. I just stood up for myself and I said, well, that's where I've got you for now. But I'll look closer and see, and then a very weird thing happened where I had someone, who was also in a big name was like, what do you fucking hate me or something? It's like, sorry, pardon my French, but it was like,
no, you're good.
Dude, I don't hate you. You just didn't make the top 20. I didn't know what to say. All right, fast forward, a couple years go by, and then I started people started asking me come on a couple shows, and I did, and they're like, why don't you do your own show since you're so critical of everybody else? Do your own damn show. And I was like, well, maybe I will. And so I just I parlayed that. I brought in was it Zach Seegers and Colin Cronin for my I brought Joey Richards and Ben from Sports Talk Denver. And we did a practice show that I never aired, that I saved, but we did a practice show just to see how it would work. And those guys were like, dude, this mic'd up thing is going to be awesome. This was so much fun. I'll do this anytime. And so that's how I started the mic'd up. And then I had Zach and Colin on because they were helping me get things set up. And I thought, you guys put up with me, we'll do this. And it just kind of took off from there. And then now of course I do those and I do, shows all year. So, I'm really fortunate to be, that I was welcome in the community. Cam, you were a big part of that. I know I, had a lot of great things to say about you guys, meant every word of it. And it's great. I do try and get people from other shows on my show. At least once a month, I get somebody on. I'm on somebody else's show, well, tonight, and then next week I'm on another show. And so, I think that we all stick together. I think when you start competing against other shows or you see yourself competing against shows, you've already lost.
Yeah.
I think when you try to act like someone else because they're popular, you've already lost, because the audience sees through people when they're not acting like themselves. Their human nature is built in that it makes you uncomfortable. Like if you, whenever talking to somebody and they make you uncomfortable, you're like, yeah, this guy's fake. This guy's not real. That's a real thing. And so, I learned a lot by doing those reviews. And I think I made promises to myself to not do those things that I saw and just be myself and not count those numbers. And I wanted to hit, I had goals, I wanted to hit 3,000 before this season. And I'm going to hit 6,000 subs before the season. So trying not to get subscribers is not the way to go. But it's like chasing a girl. If you chase her too hard, she's going to run away from you. So you kind of have to just do your show like nobody's watching. And thanks to guys like you helping me get started. It's been wonderful. And I love every minute of it.
Well, it's funny because one of the things that Brandon and I talked about at the early point, and because obviously this specific show grew a lot in a sense, because it used to be it was kind of punctual to just be well, let's just do a show, just be yourself, just be yourself and allow people to be themselves. And actually, interestingly enough, I have Zach Seegers to thank for that, because he kind of took the pod when he was on here, and we just kind of transformed it back when he was a part of Mile High Sports and everything, when he was doing audio and everything too. And so one of the biggest things for us and Brandon, and whenever we do these shows, it's just just be yourself, don't ever be something you're not whenever you're on this show. And so I think that, for anybody that is a Broncos fan that wants to be a part of this show and, and be a guest, you guys are always welcome on here. Just got to make sure we can be able to make it work with schedules and everything. But, you guys are always welcome on here, obviously. So it's just it's one where it's just a family, right? It's at the end of the day, it's we are a family. We're brothers and sisters. We disagree, but we still love each other at the end of the day, because it's
dude, if
all the time.
You've been on one or two mic'd ups, but I can't keep track. But once you have I reuse my
have you reused mine?
My code or whatever it is, my StreamYard code. It's the same. It's been the same one for a year and a half. Like, so last night I was doing a solo show and all of a sudden Richie popped in. And I'm like, I said, what are you doing here? He's like, I saw you were live, thought I'd hop on. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I throw him on there. And I swear to God, 2 minutes later, Mario pops on. You know, it's like, here we go. And so the invitations on a solo show,
just kind of
people know that they can just pop in. I'll see them down there. And it's like, you know, I love that. I love the community. And I encourage people to, I don't know, like not worry about anything except, you know, remember who you're talking to. And,
right.
and I, you know, I know I'm talking to Brandon and I know I'm talking to Cam, but I'm talking to everybody that's watching.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I can talk to you guys anytime. We can FaceTime if we want to. Like, you know, you got to remember there's an audience out there that you're talking to. And if I were to give advice, and I try not to at this stage of my career, but it's that it needs to feel conversational with the people that are watching is the most important thing. And I you know, I just try and include them as much as I can. But yeah, you guys see me on there. I always expect somebody to pop on, and it's just like, here we go. There we go. Every show's different.
And then who knows? Maybe we do a mic'd up battle, a mainly mic'd up battle between Brandon and I.
I would do that. I've thought about that. Actually doing, like, you know, taking people from the same show, especially you know, guys like you, that you guys definitely have different takes. Now, Cameron, you know what happens on Mic'd Up. Like, I will dog you and take points and bully you and it's all in good fun.
Or use the exact same cards that she used in the last same show.
Because my producer Chewy, get on that, get some new cards. My producer Chewy is worthless. I if I could find a replacement, I would. But I gotta fire Chewy. Look, nobody watches. Like, you don't watch the show, so you don't know the cards. I mean, you don't have time to watch everybody's show. So when I do Mic'd Up, it's like I had DMAC on the other night in Ben, and I'm like, you know, I've already used these names. It's like, well, they're not going to know. Like, neither one of those guys have watched my show. And so I use them again. And then, of course, you know, somebody will call me. I was like, hey, that's the same name you used last week. And I'm like,
yeah, Glenn.
I think Ben and DMAC were watching my show last week.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for hopping on. Why don't you go ahead and stump your show and your network.
Well, you see my Twitter there, Mike_Carmelini. I was able to get my Twitter name back.
He's not a bot.
Congratulations.
Yeah, even though I never got my 2,000 whatever followers back, I did get my Twitter handle back. So you can always find me on Twitter there. You know, YouTube, it's Mile High Monsters. So yeah, we're over there, and yeah, I would love to see you over there. If you don't know who we are, well, now you kind of do. So do a show with David from David Talks Broncos every Wednesday at 4:30 Mountain, 5:30 Central, and then every Saturday with Colin Cronin from the Dublin to Never podcast. He's from Dublin, Ireland, and it's an international show. It's awesome. And then until the season, and then the season is just on fire all the time. Now, the mic'd ups come. Well, you were talking about Romy Bean. So, like, Romy's coming on this year, but Mike Sanford is going to be her opponent, and Mike's in Costa Rica. And then when he comes back, and then Romy's, you know, it's this show. I swear I could have a staff of like 5 people that just schedule people. It's a nightmare. Like Ryan Edwards. Well, I can do 2 weeks from now, Thursday from 7 to 8. I can do it. And then I go, okay, RK. 2 Thursdays from, oh no, man, we're going to be in Florida Keys for that week. It's like, okay, bump you to next month. It's a nightmare. I don't even want to do these shows anymore. I swear.
We're just
the most fun I ever have when I'm on the show.
Yeah.
But scheduling it is a nightmare. Like Troy Rank is like, hey, yeah, I'll be there whenever. Doesn't care. Like, he's easy.
Right.
But if I'm going to have, you know, pick your guy, Zach, you know, from DNVR. That guy's as flighty as they get. He'll tweet me 50 times or text me, and then I'll say, well, what about Thursday? And then 3 days later, he'll be like, how about Saturday? And I'll be like, I can't wait 4 days. And then so his wife's like, yeah, he's the worst texter in the absolute world. Like, he will not text back until he feels. So yeah, that's the fun part about Mic'd Up. But yeah, it is a fun show. I wish I could tell you when it is, but they just happen whenever Like I just make time for it. Whenever everybody agrees, I just tell them, you guys figure it out and I'll make it happen. So
spontaneous shows are sometimes the best shows. Make sure you, so like, Mike mentioned, make sure you go follow the work that he's doing. And also for us, make sure you hit the subscribe button for the MHRT Network page.
Absolutely.
We said it last year. We'll say it this year. We'll see if we can be able to get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We're sitting about 1.7 right now on our MHRT Network YouTube page. We also created a Mainly Broncos YouTube channel. And most of the stuff, if you will, is short form. We do our streams there on the Mainly Broncos YouTube page. We also do our short form over there on Instagram, TikTok. Sometimes we'll share some of that stuff over there at Mainly Broncos, which is our Twitter handle. And then, of course, follow the boys. Follow Jordan at Jordan T. Lopez. Follow Brandon at Brandon Miller PO. And I say it often. It is just make sure you know that you are typing Brandon Miller at Brandon Miller PO and not Brandon Miller, the NBA basketball player.
I followed him for a while accidentally.
Yeah. So just want to make that known still again, like if you are tagging Brandon Miller, the NBA basketball player, you might not get a response. If
you're tagging me, you also might not get a response. I'm almost as bad at texting and communicating.
Yeah, you're awful.
So
you're absolutely an awful human being when it comes to that.
Yeah. I can definitely confirm that. Brandon is not a text backer.
I would apologize, but it's in my nature. I can't find it.
We'll end it with this, that maybe we could be able to find a time where, Mike, if you come down to Colorado, Brandon is a golfer. Obviously, I'm a golfer. Maybe we can go hit the link sometime, and then we can go find a round, and I'll make sure I shoot a 72, and you can be able to shoot a 109, and Brandon can be able to shoot he just won't keep
140. Yeah.
Jeez,
I'm a worse golfer than I am a texter. So
well,
take that as you will.
We'll take a look at it and see if we can fix it. We'll see what we can do.
But anyway, thank you guys to everybody that was hopping in the chat. It was a lively chat. And we will leave it, of course, with a God bless Bo Nix.
Let's go Broncos! God bless Bo Nix!
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast racking up the flame miles. So high, I might never come down, so